Hello, my name is Jason and welcome to the Eskrima podcast. I'm an Anayan Eskrima and new setup, new ride, and it's took a while for me to figure out how I wanted to do this. So this is a test to see how well this works. Looks like the video will be a little bit more shaky. I have heard some people say, well, I can't hear you so well. I'm still working on all those things. This is mostly in an effort to document my journey as a teacher in Filipino martial arts, as a practitioner in Filipino martial arts. So that's what at least this particular podcast setup is for. We have, of course, upcoming is going to be a new members podcast set. There'll actually be several different kinds for the different kinds of members that we have. One will be more of an aid for our members, all the way from steel all the way up, to be able to better utilize the curriculum and the content in the member site. And another one's going to be more for our Damascus instructor elite members and stuff like that. But that's probably coming out, if not next month, in January. Today is November 20th, 2023, and I guess the thing that really is to talk about, I just got back a week ago, so this last Saturday, a week from last Saturday, from Dubai. And in the intervening time since I've recorded another one of these episodes, I haven't really trained that much because I've been ill. I caught some kind of bug on the plane, I guess. It was a pretty good flight back. It was 15 hours and some change on Emirates Airlines. Great airline. If you're flying in an area that will allow you to fly through Emirates Airlines, I highly recommend them. It's the second trip that I've flown with Emirates. I think I flew with Emirates when I went to Kuwait and taught in Kuwait. So, great airline, right? I have to say that I didn't really have any expectations in general. Like, I didn't have any idea what it would be like to be in Dubai. Had no idea. I figured, very westernized country. I heard it described as the Switzerland of the Middle East. Very, modern, forward-thinking, business-oriented, at least in Dubai, especially. So, and I wasn't disappointed. I mean, it was great. It was very convenient there. I stayed at one of the hotels of Barsha Heights Hotel in the TCOM section area where all the telecommunications is supposed to be, and then taught at Al Areen Martial Arts with our instructor member, who's been an instructor for not quite a year yet, but getting there, right? And he'd been training and doing the online instructor membership material set up for Patreon site, right? So that's I think it's Patreon Suru and I or something like that. But we've since moved over to doing the member site and building that out on anayan-eskrima.com. We have like the steel membership, and we have other memberships as well. So that's what we have now that we're working on getting set up for everyone. It actually has quite a bit of content already in it, and I've structured it in a way for instructors so that way they can very quickly launch into the curriculum without having to be held back by like level requirements as much. It's mostly about like developing the workouts and having an opportunity to train, and then of course you still have to go through the level progressions and ranking that was originally designed by my father, and then I have since taken over the stewardship for him, right? So anyways, this is a Eskrima podcast. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that's great. I really appreciate the people that are giving me the likes. I do appreciate all that stuff. The journey for becoming a martial artist like that. Like I have a new student that's probably going to start tonight for the Spider Dumok system, and he's going to do the. He's really looking towards likely more the Ponantukan and things like that, right? But he really, you know, his first test is really showing up. Like I had Quentin and Payam. He's the owner of the school that I teach at, right? And so I provide a number of classes and programs for the members there, and for specifically the Bay Area School of Eskrima students, right? And he calls me up and says, I know you're sick, but are you going to be there Saturday? So yeah, I'll be there. I probably won't do much. I'll just instruct and you know, direct other people. He goes, well, I need to make sure you're going to be there because, you know, the Dumont class, we just call it the grappling class, you know, there's somebody that's going to probably show up. So I show up. And the guy didn't show, which is not Quentin and Payam's fault by any means. That's really the student saying, I'm going to be here, and then doesn't show up, right? You know, the biggest test is showing up, right? The secret to martial arts is showing up, and that's the hard part, right? Most people don't really get that's you know where the real test is. So, you know, he was you know, this new guy is going to be challenged by that, and you know, I have my own challenges. You know, 46 years later, right? I'll be 50 real soon. So yeah, about 46 years of martial arts, right? Where, you know, I started really when I was 4, but my formal classes started when I was 6 years old. Back to Dubai. I got to, you know, do a few touristy things. That was cool, and it was I think it was like a nice spectrum, right? Like, because we went to the Unity Museum in Dubai, which is a museum dedicated to the birth of the United Arab Emirates, and why they became a country and where they started from as essentially a colony, if you will, of Britain to their own, you know, their own identity, right? And while it's very different than the States, it's very different than a lot of other countries. It's their own thing, which, you know, they deserve to you know, self-govern, right? But the idea of it being about unity and vision and growth and the strength of a nation is very attractive, if you will. It was very inspiring, for sure, and definitely for the Emiratis, the natives there. And then Wa'il took me to the Burj Khalifa, which is on the other side of the spectrum, right? The largest building ever built in the world to this time, right? And it takes 70 seconds to get from ground floor to the 125th floor, and then you take another elevator to get up higher. And we stopped at 148, and I believe there's in excess of 155 or something like that floors, right? And so I got to have traditional Arab coffee. We talked about a lot of things while we're up there. I got to see the view, but it's this interesting contrast because the Unity Museum is underground, and the, you know, Burj Khalifa is obviously as high as you can be and be in a building, really, right? And one is about the birth of a nation, right? In the last millennium, you know, essentially, you know, that was like the 1960s or 70s when that happened, right? Maybe the 50s. I think it's in the 60s though, right? And, you know, whereas Burj Khalifa, they started building that in like 2004 or 2002 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but this is an interesting contrast, and it's, you know, it's a testament to their culture, you know, to have, you know, the deep roots in the Arab world, because, you know, it's several kingdoms together as one nation, right? And so they have history beyond being called the United Arab Emirates, and the UN recognizing them as a sovereign nation, right? So that was really cool. And then, you know, had some local food, and then had a lot of Western food, right? So that was cool and convenient and comfortable. Language wasn't a barrier, right? Neither, you know, out and about, which I didn't do too much of because I was mostly just working. In the mornings, I would do my day job emails, while I was there, and then in the evenings I would train. In the afternoons and evenings I would train and then eat and then rest, because there's an 11-hour time difference. So, and then there was no language barrier really with teaching any of the students. And so I got to meet a lot of the younger students, teenage boys mostly, and then I got to also meet the adult students, men and women, and that was very cool. Most of them were not native to UAE. Most of them were, working there. There was half of the seminar on that Friday was Filipino members, right? So that was cool, teaching Filipino martial arts. The Filipino martial arts community there, the Lightning Scientific Arnis folks came out and supported, which was always nice to get that support from the FMA community. And of course, then there was the Al Arin students. There was a guy from Britain, a guy from Portugal, right? And all these different people there, and it was all very welcome and open, and they were very eager to learn. And so I had the privilege of sharing the passion of my family system with these folks, and that was great. That was amazing. My experience over there is that the people of UAE, especially, I had a lot of time with Wael, who's our instructor over there, and I found them to be very welcoming, friendly, and heartfelt, and wonderful people, just wonderful people, and their interest in their hard work. I'm mostly amazed at the progress they made through the online curriculum. And I had a conversation with the two other instructor assistants that help cover classes with Wael. That's Mark and Nell, who are both Pinoy, Filipino. And thank you, Nell, by the way, if you see this, for making sure I had some Topsy log too while we were there, and we got to share that with Wael, so he got to experience Filipino food, so that was very cool. But I got to talk to them and what their experience was, and it gave me a lot of feedback, gave me a lot of ideas of what we could do better. As an instructor, you're always looking about like, well, how can I teach better? How can I bring more to the art? How can I bring more to the students? I've said before, I think, but like the titles for instructors in Filipino martial arts, some of them use the terms like kuya and manong and stuff like that, which are more, kuya is like an older brother, like kapatid is brother, but kuya is like your older brother, right? So it's like almost like looking like the kind of the terminology that's used in Chinese martial arts, where Sifu means father and Sigu means grandfather and Sibak is brother, I think, or something like that, or sibling. But so some people use that. Some people use Tuhan. They use guru. They use just instructor or coach or something like that. And you have like Japanese martial arts uses sensei, and then they have these titles like Hanshi and Kaiso and Kyoshi and Shihan. Hanshi and Shihan are kind of the same characters in different order, which generally you don't really use those titles in addressing someone. You just call them sensei, like that's the most traditional thing to do. And then like if you think about that, Sifu is supposed to mean stern father, and sensei is supposed to be the one who knows the way. And I really like the term guru because it means to uplift, right? It's your job as an instructor is to lift up your student and elevate them in their ability and their development, right? Because as I've expressed on blog posts and articles and stuff, the process of I'm interested in martial arts too. I'm going to train in Filipino martial arts too. I'm training Filipino martial arts, and now I'm a martial artist. Now I'm a Filipino martial artist. Oh, I'm an Eskrima. Like if you that journey is a transformation of identity, right? And it's supposed to be one that makes you better as a person. And you're not, just able to, hit people with sticks and punch and kick. That's not it. There's a sense of ethics, a code there, right? And so it's great to share that with them, and I felt uplifted by them, right? Which was awesome. And then I felt like I contributed in a way where, there was a marked improvement in their ability to do certain things within the curriculum and to take them to a level where it was immediately practical, which is the goal of the United System of Eskrima, right? The goal is not for you to be effective in any way, shape, or form, after, 5 years of training or 10 years, whatever your bar is for black belt, right? Which, the black belt is really just supposed to mean that you're ready to do the real training, right? You're not an expert, you're just ready to train, right? And I shared with this thing that was shared with me, it's like this, like a metaphor for the colors of belts. So you have like white belt, you don't know anything. You're an open book, you're a clean slate, right? It's that stage of unconscious incompetence where you don't even know that you don't know, right? All the way through, you're like, some systems it's the orange before the gold or gold before the orange. But this is the rising of the sun, the rising of understanding, the rising of awareness of, oh, there's so much that I don't know. So this is conscious incompetence, right? You don't know. Well, you know that you don't know, I should say. Is the best way to put that, right? And that blossoms within you. And, so then you see the colors green and purple and blue in various orders in different systems. This is the taking root of that knowledge and that skill and that ability, the taking root of a new identity, right? The taking root of your new abilities and your new responsibilities with those abilities, right? And then, then it moves to the darker colors, brown, maybe dark purple, right? Black, right? And that's, the setting of the sun, and, you firmly rooted in what you know and ready to move into the unknown, right? So I got to share that metaphor with Wa'il, and the idea of what that is and what our process is in terms of where the sashes are and where our medallions, which is our main levels that we've had for the longest time in the United System of Eskrima, prior to activating the sash curriculum that my father created just before he passed away. And we got to share all that stuff and then work through that and see how these people did. And it was amazing to see both Nell and Mark's growth in that short period of time, but also testing some of the more senior guys that are ready for their first testing, and got to do that with I think it was Sadiq, and it was Pedro, and a couple other guys. I'm sorry, I forgot your names, guys, when I'm driving and trying to remember everything. I could see everybody's faces though, and the experience that they had, and the realization of their competency with, because as you go from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to conscious competence to unconscious competence. Unconscious competence is like, I don't even know what I know, I just did it, right? You're constantly making that journey with every level of your training. Your basic self-defense within the United System of Eskrima, that voyage is going to be quick, because it needs to be quick, because self-defense doesn't wait till you're good enough, right? And then all of the more sophisticated or more specialized or more indicative of Filipino martial arts, more indicative of the United System of Eskrima. That journey is a bit longer, depending on what your goal is. But then to go through that first testing, and Wa'il made the comment too, is like it was amazing to see these people go through this, and it really be an ordeal, and also a realization of well, that was a lot of material, and I can defend myself. Do they look great? No, they're not supposed to. They're just supposed to be able to survive, right? That's, going back to my drowning metaphor that I always use, right? Being in a fight is uncertain, and if you don't know, it's like not knowing how to swim. And, the first thing we need to do is just get you to tread water, right? We'll get to swimming. We'll get to swimming to shore. We'll get to better, swim strokes and things like that. We'll get to the point where you don't need the edge of the pool. You don't need shore, right? We'll get to that. But first, stop a punch, avoid a kick, do a strike, do a quick, simple takedown, defend yourself in very simple ways first. So that was really cool. And so, overall, I really enjoyed my experience teaching in Dubai. I'm looking forward to seeing the growth of these guys as they progress through the material online, and I periodically go and train them in Dubai. But also the fact that, as many of my instructor members are going to be coming, they're all part of the 9-eskrima.com website. We're actually going to have on December 3rd, which is 2 weeks from now, we're going to have an instructor training, right? So, working with these guys, having them come in and having them meet each other and know each other, and having my senior gurus that have been with me 15, 20, 24, 25, 30 something years, have them be able to see these people, either face to face or see the video reviews of them and keep that high standard. That journey for me has been great and amazing. And I've been talking about this journey with, Simone, Guru Simone. Her birthday just passed on the 18th of November. And she was my dad's student in Germany, and she was my student in Germany. She started the German group there, and she was by far the most loyal person that my father ever had the privilege of teaching and the honor of teaching and calling friend and student in, and I got to call friend and student in Europe, right? By far, in many ways, the embodiment of what we would call Inayan. And her birthday was just on the 18th. But, I've been talking to her about that journey since I first started teaching in Europe in 2001. So it was a great experience, and it was great to bring them into the tradition. And I look forward to bringing you all in the tradition. This is just a quick video to try out the new setup here in the new car, and also to kind of go over my experience at Dubai. Not the material that was covered so much as just my impression of the people of Dubai, of the group that trains into Dubai, and the wonderful journey that I get to be a part of with them. So very, very cool. Very, very cool indeed. I'm gonna back up into this parking spot here because I prefer to be nose out. But it was great, a great experience. It's a new week. It's Monday night. Tonight we're gonna do some dumog, do some footwork, and do all the other things that we do on a Monday. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully I'll see you on the training floor.